Have you ever felt like a stranger in your own life? You look in the mirror and the person staring back at you is unfamiliar. They have your eyes, your face, your name. They go to your job. They live in your house. They are in your relationships. But they are not you, not the real you. The real you is buried somewhere deep inside, beneath layers of expectations and obligations, and 1,000 different masks you've learned to wear. And some days, the distance between the person you are and the person you pretend to be feels like a canyon, a silent and lonely and soul-crushing canyon. In the next few minutes, the legendary psychologist Jung is going to hand you a map that leads out of that canyon and back to the lost continent of your own soul. He will give you the power to not just understand, but to command the hidden forces that are shaping your life from the shadows. You will learn to speak the language of your own unconscious, and you'll soon know the difference between the life that was handed to you and the life that is waiting to be claimed. Your life, the one you were born to live. Part 1. The architecture of your soul. Before you can find your way home, you need to understand the layout of the house you're living in, and your psyche, your soul, has a specific architecture. It's not a random collection of thoughts and feelings. It's a complex and beautiful and often terrifying ecosystem. And Jung, the master cartographer of the soul, gave us a map. First, there is the ego. This is the part of you that you think of as you. It's your conscious mind, your sense of identity, the CEO of your personality. It's the part of you that is reading these words, that is making plans for the weekend, that is worrying about that thing you said yesterday. The ego is necessary. It helps you navigate the world. It makes decisions. It gets things done. But the ego has a fatal flaw. It thinks it's the whole show. It thinks it's the king of the castle. And it is not. It is, in fact, just the king's advisor. And a very nervous and insecure and often deeply misguided advisor at that. Beneath the ego, there is the vast and mysterious and powerful realm of the unconscious. This is the 99% of your psyche that you are not aware of. It is the basement of your soul. And it is filled with everything that the ego has rejected, repressed, or simply forgotten. Your deepest fears, your wildest dreams, your most shameful secrets, your most powerful gifts, they are all down there. And just because you are not aware of them does not mean they are not running the show. They are. They are the hidden puppeteers, pulling the strings of your conscious life. And until you go down into that basement and turn on the light, you will forever be a puppet, dancing to a tune you cannot hear. And what do we find in that basement? First, we find the persona. This is your collection of social masks. The mask you wear at work, the mask you wear with your parents, the mask you wear on a first date. We all have them. They are necessary for social survival. They help us fit in, be liked, get ahead. But the danger of the persona is that you can forget you are wearing it. You can start to believe that the mask is your real face. You can become so identified with the role you are playing, the good son, the successful executive, the perfect partner, that you lose touch with the person who is playing the role. You become a character in your own life instead of the author. And then we find the shadow. This is everything about yourself that you have deemed unacceptable. Your anger, your envy, your greed, your sexuality, your vulnerability, your power, everything that you were taught was bad or wrong or shameful. You have pushed it down into the darkness, hoping it would go away, but it has not. It has just been gathering power in the dark, and it is leaking out in your self-sabotage, in your addictions, in your sudden and inexplicable fits of rage, in your choice of partners who act out the very qualities you have denied in yourself. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your abandoned child, and it will burn down the house just to get your attention. This is the architecture of your soul, a conscious ego floating on the surface of a vast and powerful unconscious, a collection of social masks, and a basement full of rejected truths. And until you understand this map, you will remain a stranger in your own house, a tourist in your own life. You will be living on the ground floor, completely unaware of the treasures and the monsters that lie buried just beneath your feet. Part 2. The symptoms of a disconnected life. So, what happens when you live your life entirely on the surface? What happens when you mistake the mask for your face and the ego for your soul? What happens when you abandon the vast and wild and powerful continent of your own unconscious? You get sick. Not necessarily in your body, although that can happen too. You get sick in your soul, and that sickness has 4 primary and devastating symptoms. The first symptom is a chronic, low-grade anxiety. It's a feeling of being constantly on edge, a sense of impending doom that has no name, a feeling that something is wrong, but you don't know what it is. This is not a chemical imbalance. This is a spiritual alarm bell. It is the sound of your soul screaming for your attention. It is the tension between the life you are living and the life you are meant to live. Your soul knows you are off course. It knows you are living a lie. And it is trying to wake you up in the only way it knows how, by making you feel so uncomfortable in your own skin that you have no choice but to start asking the hard questions. The second symptom is a pervasive sense of emptiness. You have everything you thought you wanted: the job, the relationship, the house, the car. You have checked all the boxes. You have played the game and you have won, but you feel nothing. Just a hollow, an aching, and deeply disappointing void. This is the emptiness that comes from living a life that is not your own. You have been feeding your ego, but you have been starving your soul, and your soul is letting you know. The emptiness is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that you are hungry. Hungry for meaning, hungry for purpose, hungry for yourself. The third symptom is projection. This is when you start to see your own unlived life in others. You become obsessed with a person who is living the creative or adventurous or courageous life that you have denied in yourself. You either put them on a pedestal, worshipping them as a god, or you tear them down, judging them as reckless or selfish or irresponsible. But in both cases, you are not seeing them. You are seeing a reflection of your own abandoned soul. You are outsourcing your own potential. You are watching someone else live your life while you remain a spectator in the cheap seats, and it is eating you alive. And the fourth symptom is repetition. You find yourself in the same destructive patterns over and over again, the same toxic relationships, the same dead-end jobs, the same self-sabotaging behaviors. You keep telling yourself that this time will be different, but it never is. This is what Jung called a complex. It is an unconscious emotional wound that has taken on a life of its own, and it will keep recreating the circumstances of the original wound again and again until you have the courage to turn and face it. Your life is not a series of random, unfortunate events. It is a classroom, and you will keep taking the same test over and over again. until you finally learn the lesson it is trying to teach you. These are not symptoms to be medicated or ignored or pushed through. They are messages. They are love letters from your soul. They are a map written in the language of pain that is trying to guide you back home. And the first step on that journey is to stop running and to start listening. Part 3. The tools for the journey home. So you've recognized the symptoms. You've admitted that you are a stranger in your own life. You've decided that you are no longer willing to live as a ghost. Now what? How do you begin this journey back to the lost continent of your soul? Jung, in his infinite wisdom, did not just give us a map of the psyche. He gave us a set of tools, a set of practices for making the unconscious conscious, for building a bridge between the world of the ego and the world of the soul. There are 3 primary tools. The first tool is active imagination. This is not just daydreaming. It is a powerful and profound technique for entering into a direct dialogue with the figures of your own unconscious. You begin by focusing on a mood, or a dream image, or a physical sensation. And then you let it take form. You let it become a person, or an animal, or a landscape. And then you speak to it. You ask it questions. Who are you? What do you want? What do you have to teach me? And then you listen. You write down the conversation without censoring, without judging, without trying to control it. You are not making this up. You are allowing a hidden part of your own psyche to speak. And what it has to say will shock you and challenge you and ultimately liberate you. The second tool is dream analysis. For Jung, dreams are not just random neural firings. They are the primary way that the unconscious communicates with the conscious mind. They are the nightly news report from the soul, but they do not speak in the literal, logical language of the ego. They speak in the symbolic, metaphorical language of the soul. To understand your dreams, you must learn to think like a poet, not like a scientist. You must ask, what does this symbol mean to me? What does this dream feel like? What is the story that this dream is telling? Your dreams are not trying to predict the future. They are trying to reveal the present. They are showing you where you are out of balance. They are pointing you towards the parts of yourself that you have neglected. They are a compass, pointing you towards wholeness. And the third tool is silence. We live in a world that is terrified of silence, a world of constant noise, of endless distraction, of perpetual hurry. But silence is the sanctuary of the soul. It is the space where the whisper of the unconscious can finally be heard. To practice silence is to deliberately and courageously unplug from the matrix, to turn off the phone, the TV, the computer, to sit for 10 minutes or an hour and just be, to watch your thoughts without becoming them, to feel your feelings without judging them, to simply and profoundly be present to the miracle of your own existence. In the silence, you will meet yourself. Perhaps for the first time. These are not quick fixes. They are not life hacks. They are practices. They are a commitment. They are a way of life. They are the sacred and often difficult work of building a relationship with your own soul. But if you commit to this work, if you have the courage to descend into the basement of your own psyche, you will not just find your lost self. You will find a source of wisdom and power and creativity that you never knew you possessed. You will find that the kingdom of heaven is and always has been within you. Part 4. The Great Integration. We have come to the heart of the matter. The final and most crucial stage of the journey, integration. This is the process where all the lost and broken and rejected parts of your soul begin to come home. It is the moment where you stop trying to be good and you start trying to be whole. What does it mean to integrate? It does not mean to become perfect. It does not mean to eliminate your shadow or to transcend your ego. That is a spiritual fantasy, a trap of the ego disguised as enlightenment. No, integration is the radical and courageous and deeply compassionate act of embracing all of yourself, the light and the dark, the sacred and the profane, the hero and the coward, the saint and the sinner. It is the understanding that you are not one thing, you are everything, and that your wholeness does not depend on cutting off the parts of yourself that you do not like, but on learning to hold them all in a loving and conscious and compassionate embrace. This process begins with awareness, the awareness that you are not your persona, you are not your job or your role or your reputation. You are the one who is playing the role, and you can take off the mask anytime you choose. It continues with the courage to face your shadow, to admit that you are not just kind and generous and loving. You are also angry and selfish and afraid, and that is okay. Your shadow is not a moral problem, it is an energy source, and when you learn to own it, to integrate it, to harness its power, you become unstoppable. And finally, it culminates in the connection to the self. The self, for Jung, is the true center of the psyche. It is the organizing principle of your soul. It is the wise and loving and eternal part of you that has been there from the beginning. It is the part of you that is connected to everything. The ego builds walls. The self builds bridges. The ego seeks to control. The self seeks to connect. The ego lives in fear. The self lives in love. The entire journey of individuation, of making the unconscious conscious, is about shifting your center of gravity from the fragile and terrified ego to the vast and eternal self. And when you do this, everything changes. Your anxiety does not disappear, but it no longer controls you. It becomes a signal, a messenger, a friend. Your relationships do not become perfect, but they become real. You stop projecting your unlived life onto others and you start living it yourself. Your life does not become easy, but it becomes meaningful. You are no longer a ship tossed about on the waves of fate. You are the captain. You have a compass, and you have a destination. Not a destination in the outer world, but a destination in the inner world, the destination of yourself. This is not a journey with an end. It is a lifelong dance, a constant conversation between the conscious and the unconscious, a perpetual unfolding. But it is the only journey that matters. It is the journey of becoming who you are always meant to be, the unique and unrepeatable and magnificent miracle that is you. So, if you have heard the call, if you have felt the ache of a disconnected life, do not turn away. Do not go back to sleep. The journey is long. The path is not easy, but the destination is worth it. The destination is you, and your soul has been waiting patiently and lovingly for you to come home. These symptoms are not your enemy. They are your allies. They are the check engine light on the dashboard of your soul. Your anxiety is not a disorder. It is a signal that you are living out of alignment with your deepest truth. The more you ignore it, the louder it will get. The emptiness is the ghost of your unlived life, a sacred space begging to be filled not with more achievements, but with your own authentic self. Projection is the ego's desperate attempt to deal with the shadow. The person at work you find unbearably arrogant. They might be carrying your own repressed ambition. the friend you judge as hopelessly needy. They may be acting out your own denied vulnerability. Your judgments are a mirror, showing you the parts of yourself you have yet to embrace. And the repetition, the same toxic relationship, the same dead-end job. Is the universe giving you another chance to learn the lesson? It's not a curse, it's a curriculum, and you are the only student. Let's go deeper with these tools. Active imagination is not about escaping reality. It's about diving deeper into it. When you engage with a figure from your unconscious, a talking animal, a terrifying monster, a wise old man, you are not having a psychotic break. You are engaging in a sacred and ancient form of dialogue. You are speaking to their archetypes, the primordial patterns of the human psyche. These figures are not random. They are personifications of your own, disowned energies. The monster is your repressed rage. The wise old man is your own untapped wisdom. By giving them a voice, by treating them with respect, by asking them what they need, you begin to integrate them. You begin to reclaim the lost parts of your own soul. It is a courageous act of inner diplomacy. Dream analysis is a subtle art. The ego wants a dream dictionary, a simple one-to-one translation of symbols. A snake means betrayal. A house means the self. But the soul does not speak in code. It speaks in poetry. The meaning of a symbol is not universal. It is personal. To understand your dream, you must feel your way into it. What is the emotional tone of the dream? What is the central conflict? Where in your waking life do you feel this way? The dream is not a puzzle to be solved. It is a landscape to be explored. And the more you explore it, the more you will realize that it is a perfect and compassionate and brutally honest reflection of your own inner state. And silence. Silence is the most radical tool of all. In our world, to be silent is to be a revolutionary. It is to refuse to participate in the endless and meaningless chatter of the collective. It is to create a space for the sacred. When you sit in silence, you will, at first, be confronted by the chaos of your own mind, the endless to-do lists, the anxieties, the regrets. This is the ego, fighting for its life. It is terrified of the silence because in the silence it loses its power. But if you stay with it, if you breathe through the chaos, something magical happens. The noise begins to settle. The waters of the mind become clear. And from the depths, a new voice begins to emerge. A voice that is quiet and calm and wise. A voice that has been there all along, waiting for you to be quiet enough to hear it. This is the voice of the self, and it is the voice that will lead you home.